indawo tabo ngeluhlwa la khona la eMamvulo Grand Hall lokweqhawula khona maswahla mahlo silo semhlaba setaw seleka noma nini ke manje la eMamvulo Grand Hall bese ke uyaqala umsebenzi program akusonani lenze bongosi yalo msebenzi walomuhla ingwendeka nje ithathe isikhathi lesingangela hour o bese ke uyaphela umsebenzi official angakhathi bese ke sekulela ngale kumakhila uyachubeka khona ke umsebenzi kwenyama la iyachubekela khona netivakashitayo ngumsebenzi lesihlanganisako la eMandulo sihlanganiswa ngomkhomisi weAfrica e-trade kuqhudelwa ke kakhulu bongosi tekuthengiselana kulamava ndakhumbula ukuthi iAfrican Union inalo hlelo lwe-Infra Africa Trade kuqiniswa ke tekuthengiselana emkhathini kwemava aseAfrica othwana ngaphansi kwanaso sivumelwano lekuthiwa ke iAfrican Continental Free Trade Area Agreement le kuzimelwane ke bongosi sa operationalizwa eNiger mhla 7 enyangeni yakholwane ngeminyaka wa 2019 besikhona ke silo semhlaba kulo mhlangano ngilapho ke eMaswati nanawo beka bambe umoya bongosi afise ukuthi na kanjani emahhovisi ayo leAfrica Continental Free Trade Area abeke Eswatini kepha ke asesekaniketwa ke live leGhana ngilapho ke live leSwatini lasekelo naselithola ukuthi litawubamba lamahhovisi ayo le Africa e-trade la kulesifundza lesendasi neAfrica iSADC kanti ke West Africa khona lawo mahhovisi ayaba 7 le Guinea. kunjalo bongosi selo seMandulo Grand Hall lesikumele manje kungena kwesilo semhlaba inkosi semswado sathu la ngakhathi ke eholeni njengoba sibikile sinemakhosikazi aso silo semhlaba savele ke ayithethe indzawo yawo lokufaka ikhasi nato tivakashi tengwenyama kuthuleleke kusaqaka kulenzele sona silo semhlaba nasingabuka nje bongosi yeAfrica as a continent njengoba lo msebenzi lona uthuthukisa dona tekuthengiselana eAfrica yonkhana Africa ke kuthiwa ke is the world's second largest and second most populous continent emhlabeni ngiko ke indzaba lenkulu siAfrica ikhona ekuthengiselana iyodwa njengoba nakubuka indlela emava seAfrica la thengiselana ngayo iphansi nayicathaniswa nalamanye ema-continents emhlabeni kanti ke i-continent lenkulu kakhulu nayicathaniswa nalamanye ama-continents lakhona kulomhlaba abantu labakhona bayafika esigidsigidini 1 billion webantu labakhona eAfrica kubhekile bongosi lo msebenzi lona uyawuqinisa kakhulu ke tona tekuthengiselana lapha kule livekati laseAfrica kulukati naku nje bongosi emava kaSADC la live laseSwatini likhona khona ngakhumbula bongosi kusila seSwatini lokungenani indlela etiningi letingenake ngakhona eveni liqhamuka ke emaveni abomakhelwane eningizimu Afrika nakulamanye ke emave emhlaba level eSwatini ke liyawuthengisa umkhiqizo walo lomningi kufaka ikhathi nje nashukela esimthengisela ke dimakethe letinye share kubo European Union nakhona siyawuthengisa umkhiqizo washukela eSwatini. Kubhekile bonke ukuthi bosomabhizinisi labancane ngibokena nabo lekubheka ukuthi ke bazuse kakhulu kulolu hlelo lamuhla letabe liphakanyiswa ngiso silo semhlaba. Kuyagucula ke nendlela lebasebenta ngayo njengoba sikhuluma nje nge-e-commerce lokusho ukuthi indodabo letiningi bayawutenda ke basebenzisa bona buqwephesha. Sinelithemba lelikhulu ke bonke sineke ukuthi eMaswati atawuzuza ke khona kulolu hlelo lolu bosomabhizinisi labancane baseSwatini. Kulo msebenzi ke lo phakanyiswa ke bonke ivetile indvuna Mancoba Khumane ukuthi kuyawakhiwa lawo leyo headquarter yaleli bandla letabe lisebenta ke lendzaba lena lapha eSwatini. Kubhekile ukuthi esikhatsini lesingangeminyaka lemine kube kucashwe eMaswati lasuka nje kubo 2000 ukuya ku 4000 eMaswati lekubhekile ukuthi aqashwe athole umsebenzi ngalo hlelo lwe-e-trade. Indzaba lenkulu ke ngiyo le ukuthi iAfrika inabantu labasha labaningi kusho kwe-demographic dividend. Lekuhlelo ke naseSwatini sitakhumbula ukuthi elangeni lakuthandi ngalwesithathu indvuna ke tekuhlela umnotho nentuthuko bekathe ke ine portfolio committee yalolu tiko layo eAssembly naseSenate kubuka khona ke i-demographic dividend yakhona lapha eSwatini lekuvetile nakhona ukuthi kunebantu labasha labaningi bongosile September yele ukuthi kulo msebenzi onjengalo nabayakhona ke sibacele lawo mabhizinisi bazuze kunalo hlelo leliphakanyiswa ke silo semhlaba lomuhla inkosi Mswati wesithathu.
May all rise.
njengoba ke silo silinzile la sesivele ke siyangena silo semhlaba inkosi Mshado Sathu Paula ke kona kuqala kwalomsebenzi walomuhla la eMandvulo Grand Hall. Your Majesty King Mswati III, the former Prime Minister of the Republic of Ethiopia, present here today, His Excellency Haile Mariam Desalegn Bosch, Emakhosikazi Mandwabengosi, councillors, Right Honorable Prime Minister, Chiefs, Chief Justice, the Deputy Prime Minister, Cabinet Ministers, Honorable Ministers of the state from across the continent, representing different countries
and different portfolios, presiding officers of both Houses of Parliament, members of Parliament, representatives of the African Union Commission and regional economic communities, representatives of the African Electronic Trade Group, Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, senior government officials, private sector partners and captains of industry, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is a great honor for us to launch today the AE-Trade group in Eswatini, the Southern African head office that has been nominated to be housed in the Kingdom of Eswatini. Your Majesty, we shall begin though with a moment of silence so that we can all say a prayer in our respective religions. Bayete, wenwaphakade. Bayete, wenwaphakade. We can take our seats. Your Majesty, we will begin the program today with a culture troupe, local entertainment, which is a collaboration of different forces that will showcase Sipaka, Ingadla, Lutsango, Nemajaha, and thereafter we will have Manzini Choir take the stage. And they will sing a plea for Africa, and then I will come and take the stage thereafter. Shall we welcome the culture troupe?
It's Giveth hope.
Let's give them another round of applause, please. Baithe, wena phakathi. Silo sikhulu. There's nothing as beautiful as the African culture in all its might. And I think we've been witnesses to a spectacle that our visitors will hold dear in their memories for years to come. I was recently in an investment promotion event with the Eswatini Investment Promotion Authority in Europe. And one of the panelists was asking me a question that they thought was a tough question. And he said, how come Eswatini has maintained its Africanness? And I was ready for the question. And I said, Africa needs to learn from Eswatini. We don't separate our culture from our politics. And our culture and our politics are one, and that is what maintains our identity. The room, it is befitting that Your Majesty, the AE Trade project comes from Africa, a country that is proud of its heritage, a country that is confident about its destiny, a country that knows where it is going. As we are here today, this day will go down in history, Your Majesty, as the day that the continent took the first step to making the aspirations, goals, and objectives of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area a success. It's a day when Africa, from the very north to the bottom south, stands together with its partners in the digital trading space, in solidarity and in common purpose, to actualize the political will which was demonstrated by African leaders, amongst which was yourself, Your Majesty, to ensure that we dismantle barriers to trade across the continent and over time enable freer movement of goods and services across the continent as much as possible. That is what the E-Trade project is all about. But I think a video that we are going to show now will do justice to explaining what the AE Trade project is all about. Can we take a few minutes and focus our attentions on the video? And after the video, I will come up and explain that we are going to be signing the host country agreement, and we will quickly go into that. Take it away.
Since inception by the Founding Fathers, the OAU has worked hard to achieve the sovereignty, territorial integrity, and the political independence that its member states know today. The recently signed African Continental Free Trade Agreement is a historic milestone. It is viewed to accelerate intra-Africa trade and bring socio-economic transformation. A transformation that starts with our small and medium enterprises at the heart of our economies. All around the globe, traditional economy is quickly changing trade, jobs, and skill sets. However, our SMEs are far behind in this transformation. We need to catch up. We have to change mindsets and help SMEs perform in this new economy. This is the African E-Trade Group's central objective: to empower and support SMEs and take full advantage of the Free Trade Agreement. How can AE Trade help young entrepreneurs? Let's take these two young entrepreneurs as an example. Blessing works with local farmers to produce and distribute chia seeds. Glory has a small but successful clothing company. With support and guidance from AE Trade, they can start selling on the internet directly to the consumer. They can sell almost anywhere in Africa through the use of multi-payment gateway. Their businesses can even become part of the larger supply chain. with the means to shape and distribute to the national, regional, continental, and global market. Blessing and Glory can learn about best practices, rules, and regulations, and other valuable business information. They can also receive support to help fund the growth of their businesses. A growth that will create local jobs, contribute to the success of others, and ultimately help Africa prosper in the new digital economy. How can all this come together? The AE-Trade Group initiative has 6 major components to provide support on all fronts. An e-commerce platform including cloud computing, data storage. It will serve both the public and private sectors, ensure business continuity, data recovery, provide secure email services, and more. eCompute will provide hardware and software solutions, such as cloud computing infrastructure, data storage, and security, even solar-powered laptop manufacturing. A multi-payment gateway to fulfill transactions in any African currency. AeLogistics to bring together all African logistics in the system. AE Business Media will broadcast SME success stories and share best practices. The information will be available in many African languages. AECTI, a non-profit technical institution whose principal aim is to assist African Union member states on e-commerce readiness assessment and e-trade policy regulatory frameworks, aligned with AFS, FTA, and other legal frameworks. The 6 main components are the pillars of AE-Trade Group's initiative. Combined, they will empower African entrepreneurs and help them succeed in the digital economy. AE-Trade's goal is ambitious, but our research is very encouraging. It forecast the creation of 600,000 SMEs and 22 million jobs across the continent in the first 4 years alone. AE-Trade and SMEs cannot do it alone. A stronger engagement is needed from larger successful enterprises. Our Afro-champions. Proper legislation and political will of participating member states is also essential. The future of Africa seems bright, and with the AE-Trade initiative, we want to do our part. The AE-Trade initiative will be rolled out in different stages across Africa. Our leaders realize its potential and are fully behind it.
This platform, we're going to really have the 4th industrial revolution for Africa. It will give all the infrastructure for our African continent. The infrastructure with reference to IT and the connectivity across our continent for the private sector, for everybody, and leaving no one behind. We are going to transform our African continent through this digital platform. We all know that Africa is the richest continent on the world, but we really need this infrastructure in order to make it happen. I believe the electronic trade platform will make sure that we will promote industrialization, promote centers of excellence to add value to our raw materials. It will promote connectivity among our private sector. It will make sure that we as Africans manage our own resources, to know each other, to know what's on the continent. We don't have to export our raw materials and export it after value addition. This will be a huge platform for real transformation of Africa and for the Africa we want. In order to operationalize the continental free trade area, we have several pillars, and I always call it the triad of empowerment: the people, the policy, and the product. With reference to this electronic platform, it will really make sure that we have all the information, we are connected across the continent, we make sure that scientific research institutions are connected with the industries, are connected with building the capacity of our people. So it's a holistic approach, and it's a cornerstone for the operationalization of the continental free trade area of Africa.
The decision was to come up with a continental platform on e-commerce. First, to start with the institutions. There's going to be a continental office. There are going to be regional offices. The Eswatini is the first one to be launched for startups across Africa. to be able to do their activities with the full backing from the continental platform on e-commerce. And we hope by that we'll be able to generate, in the shortest possible time, a minimum of 600,000 SMEs. In terms of trade and industry, we address issues of digital manufacturing, issues of e-commerce. All these are going to come, and all of them are going to require a number of activities, but basically the most important being skills development. Because without skills, Africa cannot harness the emerging fourth industrial revolution. And we are very happy to be partnering with the African Electronic Group, and this is the start of things, and many more things are going to come up as we go ahead. And over and above that, experts tell us that within the next 10 years, 90% of trade is going to be digital. So the Africa Electronic Trade Group is going to assist in this regard.
The entry into force of the African Continental Free Trade Area and its implementation is one of the historic milestones achieved by the African Union this century. It is therefore timely that the African Electronic Trade Group has brought a comprehensive approach for grassroots transformation. Using digital tools and technology to all member states through the African Union Commission, we believe that the African e-commerce platform and related initiatives that we are launching today are a significant enabling mechanism. For the African Continent Free Trade Area implementation that is being driven by member states and the private sector. The AE Trade Group's unique approach is a social entrepreneurship model from the diaspora, which we fully embrace because we recognize it as the sixth region of the African Union. It is bold and ambitious and is inclusive of all stakeholders at the national, regional, continental, and global levels. It is driven by a pan-Africanist spirit, African designed and African led. It brings a new way of doing business, including collaboration among businesses, empowering startups as well as youth and women in Africa. The concept of doing business with merit and with the aim of empowering others in a sustainable way is an approach that is aligned with African values of Ubuntu. That is why the Kingdom of Eswatini is providing a permanent home for the AE Trade Group and other related initiatives to serve the Southern African region. I have personally dedicated myself to champion this initiative and to work closely with all African Union heads of state and government, so as to make the goal of creating 600,000 SMEs and 22 million jobs by the end of 2023 across the continent a reality. This is a concrete step towards creating the Africa we want. I thank you, Siyabonga.
Let's work together at this grassroots transformation.
Bayethe wenophakathi. The objective, Your Majesty, of the host country agreement is to provide a platform for collaboration and cooperation between the government of the Kingdom of Eswatini through the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade and the African Electronic Trade Group. The agreement sets out modalities for engagement, rights and obligations for either party, applicable privileges and immunities, as well as provisions for the resolution of disputes. It is the standard overarching framework that establishes the legal status of the e-commerce trade office and its personnel in the Kingdom of Eswatini. At this moment, Your Majesty, with your permission, I would like to invite the CEO of the AE Trade Group, Mr. Mlwaliam Siom, to join me in signing the host country agreement. I would also like to humbly invite the former Prime Minister of Ethiopia, His Excellency Hailemariam Bosch, to witness the signing, and also invite the Minister of Finance from the Kingdom of Eswatini to join us as we sign this particular agreement. With your permission, Your Majesty. Bayete, wenwa phakathi. Silo Skulu, at this stage, we will again invite Manzini Choir featuring Notando Hlope and Zwelim Sibi, and they're going to sing You Raise Me Up, and then after that we will get into speeches for the day as we proceed with the program. Bayete, Wenophakathi.
When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burden be, and I am still and wait in the silence until you come and sit a while with me.
You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. And I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be.
There is no life without its hunger, its restless heart beats so imperfectly. But when you come and I am filled with wonder, sometimes I think I eclipse eternity. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. And I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise
Bayethe wena waphakathi. Awu baze bahlabela kahle silo sikhulu bantu bakho bangazitha bengibona nje la holeni bonke abantu bebamamatheka kepha khona lenye ijabi limamatheka kakhulu kunalabanye. Bayethe wena waphakathi. Your Majesty, we shall get into our formal speeches for today. Your Majesty, we shall invite up to this podium the CEO and Chairman of the AE Trade Group, Mr. Mulwaliam Siom, to make his remarks. And after him, he will be followed by Mr. Wahid Adli, who is representing the head of state from Egypt, His Excellency El-Sisi, who is also the chairperson of the African Union. In that order, Your Majesty, let's encourage Mr. Mulwaliam Siom with a hand. Bayethe wena phakathi.
Your Majesty, Kingdom Eswatini, Excellencies, distinguished guests, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me, Your Majesty, and honorable guests, to express on behalf of the African Electronic Trade Group how honored and humble I am by your presence here today to make the launching of the Southern African Regional Office for the Pan-African e-commerce platform and related initiatives, which is agreed to be hosted by the Kingdom of Eswatini. My warm welcome and thanks to everyone for coming to this gathering today. I would like to extend my most sincere tribute to Your Majesty and the government officials of the Kingdom of Eswatini and to the people of the Kingdom of Eswatini for embracing our vision and kindly agreeing for hosting our regional office and operations. My colleagues and I are humbled by the warmth and generosity in organizing such an excellent event in this magnificent venue in the Royal Palace. My heartfelt congratulations to you on the selection of the Kingdom of Eswatini to host the A-Trade Regional Headquarters. This remarkable selection has been the result of a persistent and meticulous work of your government leadership and the concerned officials together with all the men and women who have been working hard behind the scene. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a high-level panel constituted under the auspices of the Commissioner of the Trade and Industry of the African Union Commission and which met on 17 June 2019 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, which undertook rigorous review of the detail of the office received from each of the competing member states in line with the pre-criteria. The high-level panel was impressed by your office and the extent of your preparedness to provide the A-Trade Group a home. It made its recommendation, which was subsequently approved by the Board of Directors of the A-Trade Group. The A-Trade Group and its board are delighted by the outcome. We acknowledge that each of us has mutual hope and expectation towards the success of executing of this important initiative. I stand today before you with confidence that the A-Trade Group will rise to your expectation and work hard to succeed together. Our success in promoting electronic trade, catalyzing success in the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, which in turn signifies success for Africa in its march toward Agenda 2063 vision, as endorsed by the African Union Head of States and Governments. Today is a historic day. Today is a day that the A-Trade Group has started making the Kingdom of Eswatini its home. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to also tribute the African Union Commission for fostering such a strong partnership with the A-Trade Group in various fields of common interest and enable us to get to where we are today. The inauguration of the A-Trade Group regional headquarters here in the Kingdom of Eswatini isn't itself a proof of that the AUC and the A-Trade Group can do together. Our continued collaboration will certainly result in finding practical ways to deliver a better quality of life and sustainable social and economic development to 1.2 billion Africans in line with the Global Sustainable Development Goal. I would also like to take this opportunity to express our sincere gratitude to all those who believed in this ambitious initiative from the diaspora in Canada, the United States, and Europe, comprise professionals hailing from Ghana, Ethiopia, Nigeria, Burkina Faso, Togo, Senegal, Guinea, Kenya, Cameroon, Equatorial Guinea, Botswana, Egypt, Morocco, Rwanda, and from the Kingdom of Eswatini, South Africa, Malawi, and Mozambique. Through this historic launch event, we extend our arm to all of you to come on board on the exciting journey. Your collective support reminds me of the saying, anything worth having or worth achieving or fighting for starts with a dream. Indeed, the idea behind the creation of the African E-Commerce Development International and the A-Trade Group started as a dream to change Africa, a dream to do something tangible about the real problem facing by ordinary people every day. Today, we are witnessing the starting of this dream. I do not doubt that we have many challenges ahead of us, and that our response will have to be quick, decisive, and courageous. But I also believe that we have the three necessary ingredients for success. First, I believe that the institutions that we have developed rest in a solid analytical foundation based on years of research and effort to understand the real problem at the national, regional, and continental level on the ground, and the actors involved so that our solutions are tailored to the problem at hand. Second, as you know, the world economy is moving quickly to the digital economy. The time has come for Africa to implement e-commerce infrastructure for economic development throughout the continent. Some African governments recognize that the time has reached and are embracing the idea and expressing their readiness to go for it. Therefore, I believe that we have the necessary political will and support required to push forward. Third, I strongly believe that those countries that are the major player in the world of the A-Trade Group will spark grassroots transformation by championing and working together. You will certainly gain a unique perspective in the dream that will be making a reality. We invite you to share in this dream and to build the new Africa we want. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, putting this in the broader context, we know the global trade is expanding in unprecedented rate, and e-commerce has been the engine that has powered this expansion. Digitalization has brought enormous opportunities for the increasingly categorized work. Africa is becoming an important part of the global trend. Well, there are some African countries that are either e-commerce ready or making some in the road in the actual use of e-commerce. Most of Africa is behind harnessing this powerful tool. Irrespective of the current readiness of any individual country, the ATRADE Group is here to provide a meaningful support to each country moving forward. The ATRADE Group is a social entrepreneurship initiative, a multi-talented group of diaspora professional and senior IT experts. Our aim is to work with member states and citizens of this continent in the implementation of an e-commerce platform that penetrates the continental market using state-of-the-art trading technology, designing and supporting by Africa for Africans. The technological tools and approach planned to be deployed are designed to respond to the low level of development of African physical ICT infrastructure and takes into account transport and logistics constraints. We firmly believe that our innovative e-commerce approach will help African small and medium-sized entrepreneurs to thrive. This approach will support the creation of jobs, especially for youth and women, thereby resulting in a more inclusive and sustainable economic growth across the continent. The ATRADE Group has taken into account the current state of e-commerce at a continental level and known that if we want to make a hard progress with a view of making Africa a major player in the global economy. We must set audience to a strategic goal and objective. With a holistic view of the technological capability at our disposal and a holistic approach to implementing it, leveraging both continental and worldwide experts, we wish to share with you that we strive to achieve. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the promise of infrastructure, technology, and job fill for hearts with pride. However, we also know that the fear of fraud as a major impediment the e-commerce face in Africa. Other includes inconsistent street address system in most African countries, poor infrastructure, a large unkind segment of African population, lack of interoperability of payment systems between countries, virtual cultural difference, and taxes. These implements also exist in other countries, regions of the world. We can make inspiration from other regions which have that challenges. We know that despite this issue, ICT innovation and digitalization of economic activities have transformed and are still transforming trade and other social and economic aspects of people's daily life around the world. Traditional business models are being disputed, and e-commerce is becoming a fundamental aspect of international trade. The ATRADE Group will be one of the existing and emerging array of drivers, stakeholders, working together to strengthen the presence of e-commerce in Africa and improve the economy. Here, I point to success that is evident through collaborative public-private projects, such as the Africa Competitive Report and the Grow Africa Partnership. Government alone cannot do it. Business alone cannot do it. We need to come together to draw and drive the development path to our continent. The ATRADE Group business model is promised to the principle of inclusivity. We are seeking to broaden the option available by African Union member states that are keen to realize the tangible benefit of an increasingly integrated market space in the continent. The operation of the e-commerce platform will subject to the law and regulations that govern other similar operations in the country where it operates, including those harmonized ones that are expected to be in place subsequent to the operationalization of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Excellencies, distinguished guests, our mission is to make doing business easy in our home, Africa. For the AeTrade Group members who are here today, who has been in the continent, either lively watching through YouTube, today are given the responsibility to spare the ethics and best practice. You have been entrusted to implement a major initiative for the continent that affects millions of people. And you know the AeTrade value and principles. That is to work for Africa and for the people of Africa. For the business leaders here in Eswatini, here in the kingdom, in the region, and in the continent, my humble message for you would be, in the 21st century, the game is to collaborate, to create alliance, to develop healthy competition. Any other approach of doing business will be to fail as an African. Through a competitive, healthy business environment and collaborative among themselves will Africa rise. For the head of states and governments, our leaders, your guidance and support are critical. About 60 years ago, your predecessor and our founding fathers of the OAU led Africa toward its political independence. They fought against colonialism and achieved a political independence. In 2008, under oversight and leadership, the ACFTA agreement has adopted in Kigali, Rwanda, that sparkled to all Africans and the hope for economic independence. That includes free movement, open sky, and many other things that will all have been achieved for years. Now, the time to work together to make this reality. There should be no discrimination or impediment for citizens of Africa to travel from Cairo to Cape Town, from east to west. This is the land of Africa, in the word of greatest African leader for all time, Nelson Mandela. We are blessed with a truly wonderful land. For the young entrepreneurs, especially women, I have somber news for you. The future for Africa is in your hand. You cannot take that for granted. You need to lead Africa to its next height. You should push to extend the boundary of free movement of people, good and service across Africa. You have no choice but to work hard to catch up with the rest of the world using a digital technology as an enabler. The AeTrade Group is committed to support you on digital capacity development. The digital platform that we are launching is for you to use it, improve it, take it to the next mile, apply your entrepreneurship with purpose, a purpose that takes our people, our community to the center. The target to eradicate by 2030 extreme poverty for all people everywhere in the context of Sustainable Development Goal 1 and all the other SDG cannot be achieved without your participation. It is up to you to decide what kind of impact you want to make in your community, your country, your region. The AeTrade Group will be in your side, working with you and contribute to your effort in how to be a purpose-driven entrepreneur. One who makes income, well, you make income, well, it is at the same time making social impact. Finally, I would like to thank once again for our gracious and esteemed host, His Majesty King Eswatini III. We thank the distinguished representative of the African Union, state, and various partners who prioritize this historic event in the Kingdom of Eswatini. We thank for the faith you bestowed upon us and in our initiative and the hug support you extended to me personally. We dedicated this day to all Africans. Here and abroad, we believe the Africans' unity is the key to peace and prosperity. Let us think big. Let us inspire ourselves to a greater height, while at the same time working hard to break through all the limitations. Thank you.
Your Majesty, King Eswatini III, Your Excellencies, representatives of heads of states, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to be here with you on this historic occasion, which has been graciously hosted by His Majesty, King Eswatini III, and the AE Trade Group. Indeed, the government of Eswatini must be commended for the usual warm hospitality afforded to us since arrival. We are all present at this auspicious event to welcome the groundbreaking initiative that aims to improve the lives of our people and to transform the way that business is done across the continent. Social entrepreneurship seems to fit in our philosophy as Africans, caring for one another, while also pushing forward a work ethic that will make us more competitive. What is commendable is that it is driven by the private sector, supported by the African Union and its member states, as well as development partners. The time has come for African governments to fully embrace ideas, initiatives, and innovations that come from the African private sector. When I see the Africa Electronic Trade Group initiative with their product offering, the technology they bring, and the capability they offer to change the mindset of governments, financiers, entrepreneurs, I got excited. For the first time, we are not here to blame each other, but we are all gathered here to talk about solutions for the people of this continent. We are here to solidify the partnership that exists between the public and private sector, aimed at sustainable development and accelerated poverty reduction. As leaders, we can't ask for more than this. It's time to move swiftly to address the ticking time bomb of youth unemployment. Due to the magnitude of this endeavor, which is African-designed, African-led, and African-executed, the initiative deserves our attention and support. We realize that it will receive global attention, and we are confident that our partners will step in order to achieve our common objectives, including providing hope to Africans that they can remain and find productive employment within the continent. They don't need to risk their lives crossing the oceans in order to seek greener pastures. Our resources may not be sufficient to cater for all our needs, but we should start with what we have. During the United Nations General Assembly in New York held last month, leaders were discussing how to accelerate the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals. At the center of it all is the need to harness technology. And this is exactly what we are looking forward to be implemented shortly in Eswatini and other countries in the continent. In fact, the AE Trade Group initiative is not only an enabler for achieving the SDGs, but exceeding this to meet our continental agenda for prosperity, peace, and integration. We are pleased to see the representatives of the AUC, the SADC, and COMESA with us, because working hand in glove will guarantee the success of this program, not only for us, but for the future generations. At last, I would like to convey to His Majesty the warm congratulations of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, President of Egypt, Chair of the African Union, and his wishes of more prosperity and stability to the Kingdom of Eswatini. And once again, thanks very much, Your Majesty, for the hospitality. Thank you.
Silos Kulu, at this stage, we shall invite the representative of the chairperson of the AU Commission, Mr. Musa Faki, who is ably represented here by Her Excellency Rosette Kitunje. And after that, we shall welcome remarks from the Minister of Information, Communication and Technology from the Kingdom of Eswatini, Her Royal Highness Princess Sikanyiso.
Your Majesty, King Mswati III, Head of State for the Kingdom of Eswatini, Right Honorable Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Eswatini, Right Honorable former Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Your Excellency Haile Mariam Desalegn, Honorable Senator Tusile Dlala, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Senator, Minister Mantobe Kumalo, and Honorable Minister of the AU states present here at the high table, and the representative of the AU chairperson, His Excellency Sisi, and other representatives, ladies and gentlemen present. Your Majesty, Excellencies, at the outset, I'd wish to convey to you the apologies of His Excellency Musa Faki Mahamat, the chairperson of the African Union, who would have loved to join us at this launch. However, due to exigencies of duty, he has not been able to be with you. I'm delivering these remarks on his behalf, Your Majesty. It is a great pleasure and honor for the African Union Commission to be invited to participate in the launch of the Regional Office for Southern Africa of the African Electronic Trade Group on e-commerce. The global economy is shifting very rapidly into a connected information space. This has not spared the way the world is trading. There's an increasing, growing trade around the world towards digitalizing trade. Electronic commerce, that is e-commerce, is growing both in volume and geographical reach. Global e-commerce amounted to $29.3 trillion in 2017, according to UNCTAD. At the same time, African e-commerce is estimated at $300 million and is projected to reach $75 billion in 2025. This will be driven by Africa's growing middle class, estimated at 350 million, and projected to reach 600 million by 2030. At the African Union Commission, we have noted that e-commerce is imperative for Africa as it offers numerous advantages. It is an essential element for success of the continent's industrialization as well as the AfCFTA, that is the African Continental Free Trade Area. As we are experiencing several economies, e-commerce presents the very notion of economic inclusivity, which is vital for the emancipating the challenges of women and youth, as well as SMEs on the continent. It was therefore in this regard that we sought to work with the African Electronic Trade Group in this undertaking. We concluded an MOU with them, and it gives us great pleasure to witness the first fruits in our partnership with them through this launch. Your Majesty, Excellencies, it is my singular honor to thank and congratulate you and the people of Swaziland for hosting this vital regional office. Your Majesty, it's our belief that it's from this kingdom and yourself that the whole Southern Africa shall hear the irresistible beats of the e-commerce drums as its benefits spread to the whole region. The envisioned benefits of this initiative include, among others, 1, management of cross-border special economic zones for the manufacture of specific products destined for the continental market and beyond. Management of cross-border economic corridors, which are critical for the transit of goods and services across the continent, conscious of the security and collaboration mechanisms between the AU member states. Trade information exchange will also ensue, and it will benefit with gender and sectoral disaggregation. And finally, the ability to accelerate the implementation of the AfCFTA and responding to the Agenda 2063, as well as the UN SDGs, including connecting with the continent's SMEs. Your Majesty, Excellencies, as you're aware, the African Union Commission is now seized with the implementation of the AfCFTA, as well as the Strategic Action Plan for boosting intra-African trade. However, we realize that to effectively implement this AfCFTA, it will require flanking policies and initiatives such as this one, Your Majesty, if the AfCFTA is to reach and achieve its goals of solving some of the continent's challenges, such as unemployment. We therefore see this initiative as championed by the E-Trade Group as vital and fully compatible with our agenda, and it's in this regard that we not only welcome the launch, but also look forward to working with the group in making trade happen in Africa by establishing similar offices on the continent. The Commission will collaborate to ensure alignment in relevant national, regional, and continental initiatives, as well as bringing on board the collaboration of the relevant AU institutions, including the African Union Development Agency, commonly known as NAPAD. It is in the same vein that we at the Commission are developing a digital trade and digital economy strategy under the umbrella of a digital transformation strategy for the continent. Allow me, Your Majesty, to conclude by stating that the African Union Commission looks forward to enhancing our collaboration with the E-Trade Group as well as the Kingdom of Eswatini in order to fulfill Africa's vision of an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful Africa, driven by its own citizens and representing a dynamic force in the global arena, a vision, needless to say, that advocates for unity and integration, a continent of free citizens and expanded horizons where the full potential of women, youth, boys and girls are realized, and with freedom from fear, disease, and want. I thank you for your kind attention.
Your Majesty, the King and Ingwenyama of Eswatini, Sigodlo, members of the royal family, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, what an unequaled privilege it is for me to stand before His Majesty and this eminent gathering here today. My heart's about to fall out of my chest as we receive this baton that we share with the Ministry of Commerce, owing to, of course, the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement that was ratified on the 7th of July by all African states except 3 at the African Union Extraordinary Summit. Whilst Africa becomes the largest free trade zone in the world, Eswatini has also experienced its finest hour when being announced host of the regional e-commerce offices. Your Majesty, today we celebrate a great victory from the AE Trade Group, the first of its kind. As a component of the 4th Industrial Revolution, e-commerce is a critical pathway for the dissemination of information about goods and services, to make business transactions more efficient and affordable, and, Your Majesty, to entirely wipe out the need of the trader's physical presence. The day has come for Africans to cease to view one another as competition, but, as is the case in other continents, as strategic trading partners. Your Majesty, indeed, when the praise singers describe you as Lipudanda Balgahili, Lona libeli putsa, inzaba libeli penvula, it is to assert that the King can solve any mystery. Through his transcendent wisdom and foresight, the ability to foreshadow the future of his people, and that of times yet to come. Several projects which at first seemed less applicable to us as Africans were halted at some point, but due to His Majesty's perspicacity, strength, and tenacity, Eswatini now boasts of among the best road networks in Africa, the best airports, and overall standard of living in Africa, surprising many. As Emaswati, we are proud and fortunate to have a visionary leader who established the foundation that rendered Eswatini eligible to receive this very platform today, long before we even understood what science parks were. Excuse me. Countrywide communication services, fiber optic networks, plus fully fledged yet underutilized IT and biotech parks, parks that are located in special economic zones, zones that offer business owners with the most pulchritudinous business incentives, making Eswatini boast of an overarching digital infrastructure. In 2018, Siloskulu, a memorandum of partnership was signed by the African Union Trade Commissioner with the African Electronic Trades chairperson to boost intra-African trade through ICTs. And through commitment and consistency, the Kingdom of Eswatini will, through the infrastructure, platforms His Majesty has laid augment intra-trade relations in Africa from 17% to at least double that in 3 years' time. No longer should heads of state sign trade agreements that never come to light. Through technology, we shall convert relations to cash. E-commerce, Your Majesty, opens Africa to regional and global markets that circulate $3 trillion a year. Communication will be made swift, payments made safe and easy through financial technologies. Inevitably, money will be saved. Productivity shall be encouraged, and significant profit making will lead to significant growth in the new era of our digital economies. With ingenious allies such as the Republic of China on Taiwan, Eswatini has access to only the prototype among ICT products and technologies necessary to create a conducive environment for ICT and African trade to thrive. Banazita, having already identified a task force, the Ministry of ICT has a master plan for the African electronic trade platform, and all processes shall be simplified, from company registration, taxation, the digitization of boards, and so on. As we put heads together in the SADC, COMESA, and AU, we wish to exhort the private sector to create a niche and a unique supply management chain system for each country. For example, Eswatini can produce high-tech products, Namibia beef, and Zimbabwe applied materials. On the other hand, undertaking geological surveys, Your Majesty, African countries can use technology to protect our minerals and natural resources from exploitation through cyber intelligence and prevent wars and the shedding of blood over merely assets. With regards to the movement of goods, technology can be used to lower costs, monitor and procure shipping and handling, and avoid damage and the loss of goods. For landlocked countries in particular, Your Majesty, we could increase export by eliminating the middleman and waive all limitations on direct transportation of goods and passengers to our airports and to our dry ports. Nevertheless, a phobia of technology persists. Lomunye silosikhulu uthi de mhlambe wena ungasichazela ngcono lo siva bathi le digital migration iqhamuka na 666. Whilst people fear technology and some people view artificial intelligence and robotics as a threat to their jobs, no technology can replace a human being. With machine learning, technology can only emulate or improve what we have taught them. Au contraire, it is our human knowledge that embetters technology. To reduce socio-economic inequalities through inclusivity is His Majesty's goal in ensuring equal access for all eMaswati. This is evident in His Majesty's closing remarks at the United Nations General Assembly this year, where he said, "We therefore need strategies to encourage the labor market to absorb the growing young working class and ensure that they are appropriately trained for the needs of our markets, developing programs aimed at increasing opportunities for young people to start their own businesses. Young people, women, and our mothers, to whom we are thankful for our very existence. His Majesty will avoid the loss of talent and investment on education through the new government strategy to indulge in career awareness and almost prescribing to our citizens the specific education and training needs needed by our people to avoid skills redundancy and unemployment." As the aspirant leader of ICT in the region, Your Majesty, Eswatini's ambition, ladies and gentlemen, is to become the world's first smart nation. Therefore, Eswatini has strategically partnered with gurus in the ICT industry, Israel, Taiwan, Estonia, for instance, and our approach to these tech giants is simply stated by the Harvard professor Badarako, who says, hoarding knowledge ultimately erodes your power. If you know something very important, the way to get power is to actually share that knowledge. Lastly, Your Majesty, we commend the African Electronic Trade Group and its chairman, Mr. Muluwalem Siom, for preparing Africa for the ongoing digital revolution and grassroots transformation through a decentralized approach to trade. Gathered here today, we all put a stamp of action as Africa to deliver the Africa we want, and if God be for us, who can come against us? Te Wanoa Pagati, Lion of the Land, Sun and Stars of Eswatini, the beacon and guide of our people, the great beast, Your Majesty.
Bayethe wena phakathi awu sekubavela abhlungu labatawulandzela kukhuluma. That was a local joke. Your Majesty, we would love to invite to the podium the former Prime Minister of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, His Excellency Halmiriam Desalegn Bosch, to come and make his remarks, Your Excellency. And after him, I'll make a few announcements as we approach the close of our program today, and then invite the Prime Minister. Somebody has lost his key for a car, and the car is not parked appropriately. It is disturbing some other processes outside. If you happen to come across that key, please let me know. Bayethe wena phakathi.
Your Majesty, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, this land is symbolic. When the kingdom is trusting the African E-Trade Group and welcoming us with open hands by providing us with a home for Pan-Africanistas, we, the African E-Trade, acknowledge this land, which we wish to call the welcoming land with stretched hands for all Africans on the continent and in the diaspora. Our belief is that the African E-Trade is not force owning the land, but is given the responsibility to be the custodian of the land for all Africans. This is the spirit of the African E-Trade mission. Our principles and values are aligned to that of Ubuntu, and we are so grateful to be present here today to witness this historic moment for the continent. Thank you indeed, Your Majesty, and the entire leadership of this beautiful nation for hosting us in a time when our continent is willing to integrate within itself, reduce balkanization, and leapfrog in the era of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Your Majesty, I always remember the Eswatini consensus, a consensus where all Africans has reached to get the rightful positions in global governance system, specifically at the United Nations systems. The same Eswatini spirit applies in our global trading system, where we have to put our house in order before we unleash our potential for global trading justice. What does the African E-Trade Group stand for? It is all about a new way of doing business together as Africans, promoting collaborations as opposed to competition, an inclusive approach as opposed to exclusivity. We are promoting social entrepreneurship driven by purpose and impact. In return for this tremendous gesture by His Majesty, King Eswatini III, on behalf of the Swazi nation, the African E-Trade Group commits to creating job opportunities for young male and female entrepreneurs between 2,000 and 4,000 jobs here in the Kingdom of Eswatini during the next 4 years. We are focused on empowering young entrepreneurs in Africa with a target to create 600,000 small and medium enterprises, SMEs, that will in turn create 22 million jobs. Your Majesty, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we believe that this project does not belong to one organization. We are welcoming any African entrepreneur in various industry sectors, public and private alike, from north to south, east to west, to work together. We invite you to take this grassroots transformation and to own it. Ownership means so many things, including having a sense of belonging as you are part of making history. You are part of making the continent a better place for all our people. Now, with this understanding, my fellow leaders in the continent and in this region, let us work together in this grassroots transformation journey. I am reliably informed that in the next 10 years, the world economy will certainly be changing to the digital economy. 93% of mainstream trade is changing to digital trade. The fourth industrial revolution has already started in the wealthy countries and is emerging in the developing world. Let us focus on the innovation industry as well as the digital services industry in order to bring opportunities to our young entrepreneurs so that we can create millions of jobs. In this journey, the African E-Trade Group is committing itself to support you. We have an overall objective to create 5 million SMEs over the next 15 years, resulting in up to 125 million jobs in Africa. Let us join forces to achieve this ambitious goal. When we first thought about the African E-Trade Group initiative, we wanted to have a transformative impact on the next generation of Africans by empowering our youth and for you to take over this new way of entrepreneurship with a purpose. Entrepreneurship with purpose means you are adding value to the business to make an impact on society or your community. To do that, it's not an easy task. We need to change our mindset. We need to be ready to work 6 days a week, 13 hours a day, with no holiday. And if you do that, we promise you that it is our job as leaders to get you where you want to be. We shouldn't be quoted as Africans lazy. We are enterprising society. my fellow friends, brothers and sisters, who are involved in large business at the national, regional, and continental level. In today's 21st century, we all know that technology has enabled us to dramatically transform the way we do business. However, here in Africa, we are not using technology in the rightful potential and at most beneficial way. Let's empower ourselves by doing business with purpose so that we can have a positive impact on our societies. The African E-Trade Group is here to assist large and small entrepreneurs on the continent with a new business model. The idea is that working together, we can have win-win opportunities. Together, we can have a strong voice. Joining hands, we can have a functioning integral market in Africa, and unified, ultimately, we can have the African we want. I invite all large entrepreneurs to engage with the African e-trade leadership to explore strategic partnerships and win opportunities. We can be, and you can be amazed how the platform that we are building is able to accommodate you all. As I conclude, once again, I wish to pay tribute to the Kingdom of Eswatini, its leadership, its people, and in particular His Majesty, King Swati III, by bringing this new initiative to the forefront of the African agenda. We wish to thank from the bottom of our hearts the Kingdom of Eswatini and His Majesty King Swati III, in particular, for taking the lead on this continental e-commerce initiative through his willingness to champion it as the host of the Southern Africa region. May God bless Swatini in particular and Africa in general, and I thank you for your kind attention.
When the former Prime Minister was talking about us as Africans not being lazy and encouraging us to work 6 days a week and 13 hours a day and not take holidays, I was thinking about the Prime Minister because that's the nature of his work ethic. It is not uncommon to get a call from him at 3 a.m. and expect action and an answer at 7 a.m. So it sounds like we are on the right path. Ngicela ke konke imemetelo lapha ngendlela ukuthi masesicetha labadzala baphuma singabe sesenda lokungasiko. What will happen is when the program concludes and their majesties and their excellencies leave the room, His Majesty would love to invite all of us to the other side of this room where there will be a display of fireworks that will conclude the launch of the E-Trade, and we would encourage everybody to use the exit through which you came and make your way to the arena at the back, and the ushers will lead you there, and we will be expecting you there. And let's try and do that as efficiently as possible and as orderly as possible. It is with great humility that I invite to the podium His Excellency, the Right Honorable Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Eswatini, Ambrose Manvulo Dlamini, to make his remarks, and thereafter invite His Majesty King Mswati III to address this gathering. Bayete Wenwapagati.
Your Majesty, King and Ingwenyama, King Mswati III, Emakhosikati, Your Excellencies, representatives of heads of state and government, Your Excellency, the former Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Haile Mariam Boshe, representative of the Chairperson of the African Union, Your Royal Highnesses, councillors, chiefs, Chief Justice, Deputy Prime Minister, honorable ministers, excellencies, members of the diplomatic corps, presiding officers and members of both houses of parliament, representatives of SADC and COMESA Secretariat, the CEO and team of the Africa Electronic Trade Group, captains of industry and members of the private sector, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored and humbled to be offered this privilege of making a few remarks before His Majesty King Mswati III before he addresses this gathering, the nation, and the whole world. Your Majesty, we are grateful for your astute leadership, which has brought us together today to witness this historic launching of e-commerce platforms in Africa. I emphasize historic because we are the first country in Africa to pilot this significant program, which is expected to transform trade in the African continent. Your Majesty, trade liberalization remains a key challenge for Africa, a continent which continues to lag behind from the rest of the world in terms of inter-trade and digitization. With these e-commerce platforms, most of the challenges faced by Africa will be addressed at the click of a button. The e-commerce platforms are among the most effective ways to put Africa on the pathway towards establishing a data-driven economy and, in essence, promoting cross-border data flow, leading to the creation of new African markets, particularly for micro, small, medium enterprises. One of the key benefits of these platforms will be creation of jobs, especially for the young population of the continent. The caliber of delegates in this room, Your Majesty, is testament of the sincerity with which Africa has embraced the initiative of boosting intra-Africa trade. Africa indeed needed such a platform in order to enhance and speed up the operationalization of the African Continental Free Trade Area, which came into force in July this year. Your Majesty, yesterday I had the opportunity to officiate during a high-level business forum hosted by the private sector at Mavuso Trade Exhibition Center, where barriers to intra-Africa trade were discussed at length. What was apparent from the discussions was the determination of Africans to bring down all the barriers inhibiting intra-Africa trade. And from those deliberations, I have no doubt, Your Majesty, that Africa shall rise and claim its place in the global economic space. Your Majesty, may I once again congratulate you for being the first head of state to commission such an important program in the African trade agenda. As a nation, we are constantly inspired and encouraged by your guidance and passion for Eswatini and Africa. It is now my honor to invite His Majesty King Mswati III and Ingwenyama to address this gathering, the nation, and the world. Bayethi wena phakathi wena ongangezintaba uyimbube uyasabeka udle emathole ezinyathi sitawucela kube nekuthula bekunene libhubesi selitawubhodla bayethe wena phakathi.
Emakoskati, Your Royal Highnesses, Prime Minister, former Prime Minister of Ethiopia and a member of Board of Directors of AE Trade Group, Excellencies, heads of intergovernmental organizations or their representatives, Mr. Maulo Some, CEO and Chairman of the Board of the African E-Commerce Trade Group and its members, councillors, Chief Justice, Deputy Prime Minister, Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, presiding officers and members of both Houses of Parliament, captains of industries, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, sinvusele nonke bekunene lapha eMandvuni. It is an immense pleasure to welcome you all to this historic occasion of the launch of the regional office for Southern Africa of the African Electronic Trade Group on the e-commerce platform. We are greatly honored that you have taken the time to join and celebrate this momentous occasion with the Kingdom of Eswatini. We extend a warm welcome to you all, especially our visitors from outside the borders of the Kingdom. As a member of the African Union, we consider ourselves privileged to have been selected to host a regional office of such strategical importance towards the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. The Kingdom is cognizant of the fact that this office is for the Southern African region. Therefore, for it to function optimal, it will require close collaboration of all member states in the region. The role of the office will be to facilitate the marketing of goods from both individuals and companies on a platform that provides easy access to goods that are available in the region. This is a paradigmatic shift from the traditional online trading that we are used to. It brings a new e-commerce platform that will be marketing products for the entire region. It seeks to remove the barriers to trade for small entrepreneurs, especially accessing to training, finance, and markets. This market will create confidence in consumers as it will be regulated by policies of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Our private sector is encouraged to use this facility as it will enable them to market their products to regional, continental, and global consumers. Essentially, the country will be responsible for ensuring no one is left behind in accessing the new continental market and is able to compete for the opportunities that the African Continental Free Trade Area brings. In this regard, since the African Continental Free Trade Area has come into force, we take this opportunity to encourage member states in the region to ratify the agreement so that we have a sizable critical mass of implementers of this agreement when it becomes operationalized in July 2020. Your Excellencies and distinguished guests, our private sector is eagerly waiting with great excitement for the implementation of the Continental Free Trade Area, which presents a market size of over 1 billion inhabitants with full participation by all African Union member states. The Kingdom of Eswatini is alive to the reality that in an increasingly globalizing and paperless world, the digitalization of commerce presents opportunities and challenges. A recent report by the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development projects that the digital economy will be worth 23 trillion US dollars by 2025. However, it is of great concern that digital wealth is still highly concentrated in the hands of a few large digital platform companies, with the African continent trailing considerable way behind. For example, platforms of some countries account for 75% of all patents related to blockchain technologies, 50% of global spending in the Internet of Things, over 75% of the cloud computing market, and about 90% of the market capitalization value of the top 70 digital platform companies. This obvious and clearing digital divide, therefore, requires concerted global efforts to ensure that the gains in the economy are widely spread to the majority of people who are currently reaping little from it. It is for this reason that Africa is strongly advocating for an inclusive and a participatory global digital economy. This facility will not only confine her citizens and private sector as mere users and consumers, but also as producers, exporters, and innovators, and in that way creating opportunities for having a meaningful share in this digital prosperity. We are aware that the main drivers of value creation in the digital economy are digital data and digital platforms. Hence our motivation to partner with the African Electronic Trade Group. This partnership speaks to a shared vision and a desire by Africa to own her data and also harvest the digital intelligence generated in that data. It is encouraging to note that the African Electronic Trade Group is focusing on building domestic capabilities to create and capture value in the private and public sectors. The inclusive approach that the group is adopting which is aimed at creating a digital transformation business culture, especially among the youth and the small, micro, and medium enterprises. This is in concert with our aspirations in the African continent to arrest the scourge of unemployment and to improve the competitiveness of SMEs. Your Excellencies and distinguished guests, we take this opportunity to appeal to our developed partners that African governments require policy space to regulate the digital economy to meet different legitimate public policy objectives. In this digitalization space, we still have challenges that include competition, taxation, cross-border data flows, intellectual property, trade, and employment policies. To this end, international policies should focus less on only bragging about more African users and consumers online, but on support that will reduce the digital divide. As much as governments have a pivotal role in shaping the digital economy, the adaptation of the existing policies, laws, and regulators, and adoption of new ones where they do not exist will require the participation of the private sector. For our private sector to capture the value of the digital economy, they should be prepared to embrace new technologies and to enhance strategic partnerships that will have a positive bearing on their competitive position. Your Excellencies, we are mindful that of the 5 regions of the African continent, the Southern African Regional Office of the e-commerce platform is the first one that is being launched. Other regions will follow suit, and we take this opportunity to pledge our support for the launch of these regional offices and its headquarters. In our view, these offices will not only champion the digitalization of the African continent, but will reshape and transform our conventional way of trading among ourselves and the rest of the world. This will fast-track the realization of the African Union Agenda 2063 objectives of the Africa we want, and we take our 4 prayers for the political emancipation. The challenge that lies before us is to take the baton and liberate the continent economically. We urge all countries of Africa to take ownership of this initiative and make full use of these facilities. Everybody has a duty to make sure that they are properly used and well looked after for the benefit of future generations. Lastly, we wish to thank you all once again for your attendance, and we extend our appreciation to all those who have contributed to the success of this event. We do hope our visitors have enjoyed their stay and wish you safe travels home. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my singular honor to launch the Regional Office for Southern Africa of the African Electronic Trade Group on the e-commerce platform in the Kingdom of Eswatini. I thank you. May Almighty God bless us all. Siyabonga. Begune.
Wenwapagati. Siloskulu, we would like at this point in time to invite you, Your Majesty, and your esteemed guests to the stage to unveil the logo of the AE Trade Group. We also have, Your Majesty, the theme song that we have composed for the AE Trade project for Africa that will be sung as soon as, Your Majesty, you have unveiled the logo. Bayete Wenwapagati.
Massive jobs created, creating one Africa market, enabling Africa's digital transformation and inclusive economic development. Committed to prosperity for Africa. Bayete Wenwapagati.
African digital market, open doors for Africans to trade. This is the time, it's time for us to grow. Nekuthenga, nekuthengisa
Welcome to the World Wide Web. Africa is taking a worldwide step. Kuthuthukisa Africa kusisikome. Kusisonke sibone kunonotheka. Siyabonga iAfrika yonke iyahlangana. Konke kuyalunga manje sitawuhamba siye phili. Demnotfo kuyathuthuka la Eswatini. All thanks to the African Union for trusting in Swaziland with this Maximus task yekuthuthukisa intuthuko ye-Afrika.
Shall we all remain standing for the singing of the anthems as we conclude today's proceedings? Bayeti wenwaphakati.
Masahlamahle ufika kanjalo ke emaphethelweni umsebenzi welusuku lapha eMandvulo Grand Hall lapho bekuphakanyiswa ngalokusemthethweni umsebenzi lomkhulu weteksengiselana esetshenziswa ke tebuchwephesha la kulelivekati leAfrika bekuyi iAfrica Trade umsebenzi ke weqala ngqa kusi uphakanyiswe kulelivekati laseAfrika uqala ke lapha even naseSwatini Gonyama emhlaba ke nguyo ke lebusise lomsebenzi la eMandvulo Grand Hall esingakuphawula nje bonke sesivala bekuthi kwekuqala ngqa kusilomsebenzi lona ubanjwe la eAfrika kanti ke ingonyama emhlaba ikubeke kwacada kusi live laseSwatini licognizant of the fact that lama hhovisi lataba lapha eSwatini ngemave onke alesifunza saka SADC Phumelelo nekusi ke le Guinea kubhekile ke kuse West Africa landzele nalo lilonje ke emahhovisi lafana nalawa lalonjwa lomuhla lapha eMandvulo lomunye lobeke inkulumo umntana inkosi inkosatana Sikhanyiso lebamthanzile ke labaningi inkulumo yakhe lekayethulile ukuthi nembala sekuphelile kusibaholi baseAfrika basayine tuvumelwano letingeke tibe netitselo letinhle eAfrika sesifikile isikhathi ukuthi emavasi eAfrika avikele imicebo waphansi basebenzise ubuchwephesha kuvikelwe timbi kuvikele kanjalo nekubulalana lokukhona kulamanye emave aseAfrika bongosi ibe seke ngonyama emhlaba seyivele ke seyibulala uphawu lotabeke lusetshenziswa kule e-trade kanti ke sibonile kusayina kwasivumelwano sayina ke induna yetema business Mancoba Khumalo kanjalo ke na CEO wayo le e-trade Africa Group Dunankulu naye usayinile ke sivumelwano egameni lakhe uhulumende akanye ne-board of directors la khona la ku e-trade group lebeka ngu prime minister welive leEthiopia bongo sifika kanjalo ke emaphethelweni emsebenzi lomkhulu okunyelo sekuyawulandzela kusingonyama emhlaba salevele kuthunyiswa lawo ma fireworks lokuphawula kona kusi ilive leSwatini nembala